Hey guys, welcome to our math lesson. Let's start by reading our learning target. I can subtract within 1,000 using place value models or drawing. Remember, place value is the value that's assigned to the digits in the number based on its position. Now, we know that subtraction is where we're taking one number away from another number, but really what we're trying to find is the difference in between those two numbers, okay? So we're given the whole and we're trying to find the two parts that we could put together to equal that whole. So we don't necessarily have to subtract, but we do have to find the difference. Let's look at the example in our Ready Math Journal on page 431. Carla has 725 roses. She uses some to make a float for a parade. Now she has 142 roses. How many roses does Carla use for the float? So we want to know how many she used for the float. How many did she start with? She started with 725. How many does she have now? Now she has 142. We want to know how many she used on the float. So if we take the number that she has now and the number that she used on the float, we could find that total number of 725. Or we could take her 725 roses, take away the ones that she used for the float, and be left with 142. There are a lot of different ways that we could solve this problem. So we could think of it as 725 minus 142 to find our missing part of how many she used on the float. Or we could say 142 plus the missing part, how many she used on the float, equals 725. Here our work has already been done on the open number line, so let's take a look. 142, remember, is how many roses she has now that she has finished with the float. 725 are how many roses that she had to begin with. So they added up from 142 to 725. 142 plus 8 is 150. 150 plus 50 is 200. 200 plus 500 is 700. 700 plus 25 is 725. So when we add together those jumps or the numbers that we counted from 142 to 725, we see that we have 500 plus 50 plus 25 plus 8 here. Well, we know that 500 plus 50 is 550, plus 25 is 575, plus 5 is 580, plus 3 more is 583. So we need to answer the question, how many roses does Carla use for the float? Carla uses 583 roses. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's do number 1. Gus has 872 pennies. He gives 725 pennies to the pet shelter. How many pennies does Gus have left? Okay, so we know how many Gus has. He has 872. He gives 725 pennies to the pet shelter. So does he have those 725 anymore? No, he's given those away. So we want to know how many pennies does Gus have left. So how can we find that number that he has left? We can find the difference in between those two numbers. So we can say 872 minus 725 equals that missing part of how many pennies he has left. Or we could take the pennies that he gave away, add to the pennies that he has left to have his total of 872 pennies. Our problem, or our little hint says, do you need to regroup? If so, how? So either way we choose to solve, we should still end up with that same missing part. So let's go ahead and solve. I'm going to solve this using base 10 blocks. So I'm going to start with 872. How many hundreds are in 872? 8. How many tens are in 872? 7. 7. And how many ones are in 872? 2 ones. Now I'm going to take away 725. So let's start by taking away 700s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 10s, 1, 2, and 5 ones. Uh-oh. Let's compare 2 and 5. Which one is larger, 2 or 5? 5 is larger, so guess what we have to do? We have to regroup to have enough ones. So I'm going to take one group of 10 and turn it into 10 ones. Now I can take away 5 ones. What do I need to do now? Go back and look for my total. I have 100 plus 4 10s plus 7 ones, which equals 147. So Gus has 147 pennies. Okay? Now you try adding up and see if you also get 147. All right, let's go ahead now. We should have still gotten 147 for the missing pennies of Gus. Now let's go ahead and let's go to problem number 2. All right, it says students need to paint 525 pumpkins for the fair. They have painted 193 so far. How many pumpkins are left to paint? It says, how could you add up to find the answer? So it wants us to try to add up here, but let's make sure we understand the problem. Students need to paint 525 pumpkins for the fair. They have painted 193 so far. So they have 525. They've painted 193 of those. So basically, how many of those have they not painted is what we need to figure out, okay? So if we have 193 pumpkins, and I add the pumpkins that still need to be painted, what's my total number of pumpkins? 525. So let's start at 193 and let's add up to get to 525. All right, I want you to go ahead and I want you to practice adding up. So go ahead and pause the video and add up to find that missing part. Then we will come back and check. All right, so if I'm at 193, I know that I'm super close to 200. How far away am I from 200? If I'm at 193, how far away am I from 200? I am 7 away. Now I need to get to 525. I could quickly add 300 to 200 to get to 500. Now I need to get from 500 to 25 so I can add 25. What does this show in our problem? What does that number show in our problem? $193 shows the pumpkins that have been painted so far. What does 525 show in our problem? It shows the total number of pumpkins. So where can we find our missing part? Those missing pumpkins that still need to be painted. Where can we find that at? Yes, and how much we added up. So 300 plus 25 plus 7. 300 plus 25 is 325. 325 plus 7 is 332. We have to answer that question. How many pumpkins are left? 332 pumpkins are left to paint. You may have added your 332 different than I did, but as long as we got that same total of 332 and we added it up, then we did it correctly, okay? All right, now number 3. Number 3 says, Miss Diaz has 185 stickers. She gives some away. Now she has 139 stickers. I want you to retell this problem to someone around you. All right, so we know that Miss Diaz has 185 stickers. She gives some away, and now she has 139. We want to know how many stickers does Miss Diaz give away? Well, we know how many she started with. How many did she start with? She started with 185. If she gives some away, is she going to have a larger number than 185 or a smaller number than 185? A smaller number than 185. So it tells us that she had 185 and now she has 139. So we need to figure out how many that she gave away. Remember, we're going to be smaller than 185, okay? So make sure that your problem is reasonable. All right, go ahead and solve, and when you're done, you can come back and let's check. All right, so if Miss Diaz has 185, she gives some away. Now she's at 139, okay? So I'm going to start with 185. 100, 8 tens, and 5 ones. Okay? Now I'm going to take away 139 because that should get me my missing piece. 185 minus 139 should get me that missing part that tells how many stickers she gave away. So I'm going to take away 100, 3 tens, and 9 ones. I only have 5 ones. What do I need to do? Regroup a 10. 1 10 into 10 ones. Now I need to take away 9 ones. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I go back and count how much I have left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 10 and 6 ones. So Miss Diaz gave away 46 stickers. Rhea chose D as the answer. How did Rhea get her answer? So Rhea chose 146. If the correct answer is 46, what might Rhea have done to get 146? She forgot to take away that group of 100 and 139, and she only took away 39. If we don't take away that whole total that we need to, we're not going to get an accurate answer, and accuracy is very important in math. All right, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed 3-digit subtraction, and I hope that you have found a strategy that works well for you. Bye, guys.